Hello, and you are listening to the Book Was Better podcast, the podcast where we talk about the book of the film. I'm Luke.
And I'm Jacinta.
And this week we're talking about The Silver Brumby.
Hey you, put down the popcorn and turn on the light. It's gonna be alright, my friend. In the end, take my hand and trust me, the book was better.
Holy crap, Cobber, we are back with a fair dinkum bloody legend Australian bloody classic, Jacinta.
Abso-bloody-lutely, mate.
Mate, Cobber, fair bloody
True
dinkum.
blue.
Smash a tinny for this one. The Silver Brumby, based on a children's book series from the 50s. Mm-hmm. Now look, I know a lot of people, this isn't Ghostbusters, this isn't Batman, they're like, oh, Silver Brumby, I don't know if I'm into this. You thought the same thing when we did Blinky Bill.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Blinky Bill, young koala,
Yeah.
turned out to be, not only an Aussie legend, one of the greatest episodes in Book Was Better history.
Possibly. And the Silver Brumby, by the end of this episode, you are going to have a new respect for this. Silver Brumby is a badass.
Now first, a lot of our listeners are belligerent and ignorant.
Yes.
They're not even going to know what a Brumby is. Can you explain what a Brumby is?
Well, it's basically just a wild horse. That lives in this case, the highlands of New South Wales, I think it's supposed to be. And yeah, they're just, when the first settlers come over, they bring horses. Sometimes those horses get away. And these are just the wild horses that have resulted from that sort of thing. Basically, it's the equivalent of like a Mustang.
There
more
we
or less.
go.
But this, we do call it the Silver Brumby over here. I believe on its international release, it was called the Silver Stallion. Because nobody knows what a Brumby is.
Well, now you know. You're learning something. And this was a film from 1992, I believe.
Yep.
93, too.
Something like that, yep.
One of those, based on a book from the 50s. Now, I'm not a horse person. I don't like horses.
Okay.
And I'm not to say that they don't have their uses. Glue. Pet food.
Dog food, yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
That was handy.
Yeah, that was pretty good. They'd just be walking everywhere otherwise.
Exactly. It speeded it up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So, I went into this just like a lot of listeners are probably like, oh, an Australian horse movie? Really? I don't know if I can do this. At the beginning, I had problems with my horse comprehension. I just didn't get it. Like, things weren't connecting for me. And I was like, I don't feeling this. But I promise, this film, which also stars Russ Crow.
Oh, in like the role that catapulted him into Australian heartthrob status.
Yeah, New Zealand-born Australian Russell Crowe.
Yes.
Who really is the proto-Wertho.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really, really good for this weekend. It's Anzac weekend, this weekend. And so, yeah, we're doing a book featuring a Kiwi who we adopted as our own.
That is correct. So, Big Russ Crow, I tell you what, he brings it in this. I wasn't sure about this story, but as it continued, it went into a pretty wild place. So, trust me on this, dear listener. You are going to be a Brumby convert. You are going to be a Brumbro.
You sure are. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the Silver Brumby. I was the one that actually just came in one day and, hey, we should do the Silver Brumby, and then you miraculously pulled it out of a box of books.
Thanks to Tim the Stats Man.
Yeah.
Part of one of his many generous donations.
The Silver Brumby is very special to me, actually. When I was a very, very young child, you enter competitions in the newspaper and stuff, and you never win them because nobody ever wins those things. I won the Silver Brumby competition that the West Australian was doing. I got... one day a big package turned up in the mail and I got tickets to the premiere.
Oh.
I got movie posters and stuff. I got every single Silver Brumby book that had been published up to that point, including the movie book, which we have in front of us here. And yeah, that was the most exciting thing that had ever happened to me as like a 7-year-old.
You got a glue stick, you got a can of dog food.
Nice can of chum.
Yeah. Well, I remember when you used to be able to send drawings into the kids section of the newspaper, and if they published it, $2.
That's pretty good
They'd
when you're a
send
little
you
kid.
$2, probably a check actually.
Probably.
for $2.
Yeah.
And I got one printed, which was a picture of a duck with a machine gun and a headband.
Nice.
And it said Quack Bow First Duck Part 2. $2.
Nice. I would have thought that,
Professional artist.
back in the day they would have like sticky taped it to a postcard of aggro or something and sent it out.
None of our American listeners know what that is, but
aggro's a dirty,
okay.
foul-mouthed little puppet.
So this one is written by Peter Oliver. And he was the author of
Terror to Evildoers, Prisons and Punishments in 19th Century Ontario.
Are we sure this is the same guy?
Well, I went on to Goodreads and I clicked on, like, Peter Oliver as, the author of this particular book, and this is what came up.
All right.
I mean, I thought the same thing. I thought this cannot be the same guy because he has no other novels at all. Like, they're all non-fiction
Plus,
things.
this book proudly has Australian-made little symbol on the front. It's a bloody Aussie legend. But I don't know. Let's stick with this. What else have we got from this Peter Oliver, who may or may not be the same guy?
A trailside guide, bicycling.
Okay.
Right, he likes the outdoors. Nowie master scuba diver.
Questionable.
Okay. Insider's Guide to the Best Skiing in New England.
More America.
Peter Oliver's Origin and Progress of the American Rebellion, a Tory view.
More America.
And so, 1961 was the last one he did for a while, and then the Silver Brumby was the next one in 1992. And so I thought, what the hell's this guy been doing for like 31 years? Did he go off into the wilds? Was he bicycling? Was he scuba diving, bicycling underwater? What was he doing? And then the next book was like Lung Cancer, My Story.
Oh.
Yeah, so a bit of a downer there. I mean, it may not even be the same guy. I was doing a lot of I went on to like LinkedIn and all of these sorts of things, and Peter Oliver's a pretty common name.
We noticed you have a gap in your resume. He's dead, sir. You're talking to his skeleton. Oh, that would explain it. Well, look, I will say this about the Peter Oliver that wrote this book. A pretty good writer.
He is, yeah.
It's really well written. So not going to be making much fun of the actual writing. I want to say, be he alive or dead or whatever, it was a pretty decently written book. And it's quite a unique book as well, because the first 40 pages are not the story. It starts with a foreword by original Silver Brumby author Aline Mitchell, who actually also appears as a character in the film / novelization. Bit of Brumpception
It
there.
is, yes.
And she's basically in her foreword, she's shilling the film. She has all these bold headings too, as though she's interviewing herself. And asking herself really big questions like, could magic appear from all that was boiling up in the cauldron?
Okay.
That's a good one if you're a prospective young interviewer and you're doing a press junket or something.
Well, that'd be great. Next Supernova. We'll have to pick who we can ask that one to.
That wouldn't make Robert Downey Jr. walk off the interview.
No, it wouldn't. Hopefully not.
Give us something to ponder. And this is followed immediately by another additional section, which is entitled The Making of the Film. And there's some really good background here.
The Silver Brumby was first published in 1958, and since then, the book and 5 others in the series have enchanted millions of children around the world. Mrs. Mitchell believes the secret of the book's popularity is that they embody 3 qualities with which children love to identify: wildness, freedom, and beauty.
Which explains why the Kardashians are so successful, right?
Yeah, that's the 4th thing, big booties.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then there are stories about bringing the books to life in film, training the hero horses. Then this is really how the sausage is made. We get the real names of the friggin' horses in the film, like the horse actors.
Yes,
that
the
played
actors.
The horses in this story.
Yes.
Thowra, who's the main horse, you're going to get to know all these characters soon, so don't worry too much, is played by Blondie, a 2-year-old biscuit-coloured palomino. I find that a little bit odd. I mean, biscuits are all sorts of colours. What if it was like a nice Vovo or
well,
one of those pink squares with the hundreds and thousands on the top?
Yeah, but still underneath that hundreds and thousand biscuit is a biscuity colour.
What if it was a gollywog biscuit, one of the controversial biscuits from Australia's past?
Well, they would have probably definitely been around in 1992, not so much now.
Yeah. And it goes even more so. Makeup requirements, lip gloss, eyeliner, and a false silver mane hairpiece.
Yes, because there were multiple horses. It wouldn't have just been Blondie, but yeah, they had all this stuff to make the horses look the same, basically.
And there's a huge paragraph on the dog as well, including...
Cooley lost no time in making friends with actor Russell Crowe, who stars as the Man. The production team saw the growing affinity between man and dog and realised they had a new star on their hands.
Yeah, and then he went on to play Maximus in Gladiator.
Yeah.
And I hear for that role he was rewarded with a steak and a scratch behind the ears. Very, very good. Then there's location info, bits of trivia, bios for all the cast, and then in really, truly an unprecedented move, the entire film credits in tiny text, including all the copyright info. So this is essentially the IMDb page pasted into a book.
Yeah.
Proving that the world before the internet was very much a weird and inefficient place.
Yeah, because what little kid doesn't want to know who the best boy was on this
the
particular
gaffer,
movie? Yeah?
which was Johnny Earthmover.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Felt the earth move that
I did
night,
my
I
thing.
tell ya. Wow. All right. Let's get into this story, because
Okay.
this is a true blue, bloody Aussie legend.
I've got to say, this is actually quite a good start. The spirit of the wind cried out as awesome black clouds galloped across the high country. Vivid blue flashes of lightning chased each other through the sky, and an angry drum roll of thunder tumbled above the majestic mountain peaks.
High up on a granite ridge, the branches of a lone snow gum, silhouetted against the electric blue twilight, battled the rising wind like a frantically waving skeleton.
The wind moaned down the valley towards the lonely homestead as the fierce summer storm swallowed up the last shimmer of daylight. The rain began to tumble to earth in torrents.
Mother Earth had summoned some of her most dramatic forces for a corroboree of sound and light on top of Australia itself.
Down in the valley, a creek mirrored the silvery blue of the storm above. A single bolt of forked lightning abruptly zigzagged to earth beside it, sending a freak gust of wind across the river.
Ripples circled out on the surface, and for the briefest of moments, the reflection of a pale-coloured horse ghosted through the waters and disappeared.
Wow.
That's how you open
Pretty intense.
open a novel. This is a
Yeah.
really intense book.
Yeah.
And look, we've got the sense already, this tease of a ghost horse. But the real main character in this book is bloody Australia herself.
Oh, it sure is.
The mighty bloody Australia.
She's harsh, but she's fair.
She's a harsh woman.
Yeah.
She's a hairy in some bits, barren in other bits. She's a big, wide, brown, welcoming woman.
She is, yes.
Lightning flashing out of her eyes.
Yeah.
Just bloody Australia roaring into your fucking ears, listener.
Oh, dear.
Holy crap. So there's storm. Lots of storm is
Yes.
happening.
Many storm.
We meet our two of our main human characters. This is Mum, which is actually Elaine Mitchell, the author
Yes.
of the Silver Brumby.
Yeah.
Who lives at a homestead with her daughter, Indy,
Yes.
which is like a step away from Bindi Irwin, really, isn't it?
This was pre-Bindi. It's fine. It's all right.
Little Aussie girl is like, oh, Mum, I'm scared of this friggin' storm, Mum.
Indy's a bit of a dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, like, a bunch of riders, like stockmen, turn up in the storm. Riders of the storm. That's where that came from.
Yeah, basically. And they're saying, oh, look, Mrs. Mitchell, your fence is like fucked, eh? So, like, we just came to tell you that some of your cows have got out and that.
Your cows are just, they're men, they're stockmen. They're like, oh, Ma, your cows are like fucking all over the place. What are you going to do with them cows? You better get them back in. And Mum's just like, oh, do you boys want to come in? It's raining out
My
there.
husband's not here.
I know it's wet out there, but it's also wet in here, if you get my drift. Go to bed, Indy. Go back to bed. But they're like, no, thanks, we're right. No.
We've got each other, mate.
We've got each other to keep each other warm. We're going up to Breakback. See ya. So off they go. And one of the men, though, is Russell Crowe.
Yes.
Big Russ Crow, and here's his intro.
He looked young, in his 20s, a tough mountain-weathered face. He had deep-set eyes and a neat moustache, its edges curling around the lines of his cheeks to knit into a well-trimmed beard. The shadow cast by his dripping, wide-brimmed hat gave him a slightly threatening expression. It was a face she would not forget.
And this is the man,
Yep.
a character that needs no name. Hopefully, I'm thinking at Russell Crowe's request.
So you can just walk around and go, I'm the man.
He's just like,
I'm the man.
What you gonna fucking call me? You can call me like Steve or Robert or David? Nah, fuck that. I am the man. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Russ, the man. Yeah, but Russell, no, the man. Call me the man. So the men, including the man,
Yep.
they all bugger off.
Yes.
But Indy, she's terrified by the storm. And I thought this was a little weird out of context.
Indy's heart jumped. She could feel it thumping in her chest as she looked down at the broken horse. She knelt down to pick up the severed head, but jumped again as the bedroom door burst open.
Is this the Godfather? I understand that when you have younger kids, sort of like pubescent kids, that it's a good idea to knock before bursting into their bedroom.
Yeah.
But imagine bursting in and there she is with a severed horse head. Very disturbing. And Indy's so rattled that Elaine decides to tell her a story. A story that has been putting a smile on Australia's dial for like 50 fucking years now.
Yeah.
And that's the story of, well...
Elaine's expression changed. It seemed as if she found an answer to her fears about the storm, one which gave her comfort. Well, Indy, maybe Thowra's out there tonight. He'd be in his element. Indy was puzzled.
Who's Thowra?
There was a sparkle in Elaine's eye. Thowra? He's the great Silver Brumby, named after the wild wind that blew the night he was born. I'm sure it's him. He's out there tonight.
Yeah, so when your kids are scared of the storm,
Yeah.
give them a ghost story to be scared of instead. Like, you know, reallocate that fear to something else.
Oh, but it's a ghost horse. Like, a ghost horse is probably not going to break into your bedroom and stab you to death.
No! I'm rattling my reins. Have you got any ghost oats? And look, and then, just when we're getting started, just when we're getting into our rhythm here,
Yep.
already a photo section really early on featuring behind the scenes photos this time with captions, including this one. It says, Director John Turturus calls for silence as Nippy prepares to act out his role as Yarraman. Nippy spelled N-I-P-P-I. But in the section at the front, he was Nippy, N-I-P-P-Y.
Jesus Christ.
No consistency in this book. Even when they put all this extra effort in, it still suffers from novelization intern editors. I vote no confidence. And I would just leave it here out of principle.
Yes.
But I know where this book is going and I'm really intrigued. So we're going to stick with it.
Okay.
Back to the book and the story within the story of Thowra being born.
Indy had seen many a foal born, and her mind's eye painted a vivid picture of the scene.
Blood, mucus, tortured horse vagina, Indy, she imagined it all. Holy crap, this is an Aussie legend being born. Coming out of its little plastic bag, wobbling around.
Not quite a plastic bag, but yes.
It's like a plastic bag. I've seen a horse be born on video.
Well, it's more like, you know, mucus and membranes and...
Yeah.
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 Not quite plastic.
Well, it doesn't have like a Ziploc, but it's kind of like that. Anyway, is this some out of context comedy corner?
Possibly. In her imagination, she was already standing outside the cave watching the young Thowra suckling his mother.
This kid has a very active imagination, kind of warped. And the horses don't talk, but the movie, oh, I'm so excited, Jacinta.
Yeah.
I've just got like Mother Australia just like rattling through my veins. She uses Elaine's narration. So I thought this was all kind of strange. And a lot of these passages from the book are used as narration in the film, or the other way around.
Bell taught Thowra the skills he needed to survive. She passed on all the knowledge of the high country that she'd learnt over many years, its moods, its joys, its danger.
But she didn't really. I mean,
No.
it was just some horses roaming around. Like,
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't know how she passed on all of this to the horse. This was the point where I'm like, had my horse confusion. I'm like, really?
A psychic horse
did
connection.
that happen? How are they? They're not communicating. And also the narrative of the ghost horse is interspersed with the domestic life of Mum and Indy. Aline is getting all shining now, like she's staying up all night at the typewriter trying to get a story told. And Indy's just absolutely shocked that her mother has typed the same phrase 10,000 times, all horse and no play makes Aline a dull mum. That was kind of spooky.
It was weird, yeah, it was pretty weird.
And then back to the story within the story as the man, he lives in this isolated shack like a maniac. I think the man is short for maniac. And I just thought, like, what does this guy have in his life? Like, he's got zero entertainment at all in that place. No TV, no wireless, no crossword books.
He's got his dog.
Yeah, he's got nothing. So Christ knows what he did all day. And maybe this is what he did.
The man would sit during the evening, watching the sun set across the distant mountain peaks, and listen to the twilight creatures all around him. Grey kangaroos, flying phalangers, snorting wombats, and many others.
Whoa, one of these things just does not belong here. What the fuck is a flying phalanger?
It's like a sugar glider thing.
Did you know that?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I never heard that before in my life. And I'm a bloody Australian legend myself. I didn't know what a flying phalanger is.
Well, it's better than flying phalanges. Just fucking fingers flipping out of the bush at him.
Oh, look there's a picture of one that I posted into the document just to
Yes.
sort of be sure. And it's like
He looks like he's hanging onto a sheet.
it's like a little possum that has been flattened into a square.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that helps him to jump between trees.
Oh, mate, I don't give a flying phalanger what it fucking does. All right, so Russ Crow, these are the sorts of things he does all day.
He took off his well-worn boots, rolled up his trousers, and carefully edged his way down the bank towards the animal, squelching through the thick, oozing mud. Whoa, come on, mate, let's have ya. He grasped the nervous animal with both arms and jerked it free, the mud releasing its victim with a wallowing glug.
So that was a calf that
Yes.
he saved. He sees a calf. It was interesting, actually, because in the film he looks at him and he's like, how the bloody hell are we going to get you out of there, mate? And then he just lifts him out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because he's very strong.
Yes, of course. And then we have a little romantic interlude between the man and his dog.
Taking off his wide-brimmed hat, the man paddled into the shallow stream and lay down. He felt the bracing chill of the cool mountain waters as he stretched out luxuriously and let the water wash over him. Wagging his tail, Cooley splashed in to join his master. This is all right, eh, Cooley? The dog nuzzled the man's face. Later, they lay down together on a grassy bank to dry themselves in the sun, Cooley snoozing with his head resting on the man's chest.
Like, if that was a woman, you would have assumed they'd had sex in that creek.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, Jesus. Now we know what he does when he's alone at night.
And here is another really good opportunity to further educate our audience about Brumbies. This is right from the author's mouth.
The first Brumbies were the offspring of stock horses which had escaped or got lost in the bush. They bred in the wild and soon many herds were living in the mountains. They became a rugged, independent breed, running free and proud, fiercely shy of any contact with man. They had never felt a man's bridle bit between their teeth or saddle on their back.
Well, Mr. Crow will see you now. This is getting very sexy already for me. I mean, this is one man's obsession with a beautiful virgin horse. And sure enough, once he sees Thowra in the flesh for the first time,
the man dug his heels into the ground and jerked Thowra towards him.
whoa,
Ooh!
beautiful.
Ow.
Just not in the hair. And then our mum horse, Bell, she fights Russell Crowe so that young Thowra can flee.
Thanks to Bell, Thowra escaped from his first encounter with the man, but it certainly wasn't to be his last. Thowra did not realise that he had become a challenge, a prize to be pursued and attained at all costs.
I'm gonna get you, you little horse, you beautiful little silvery maned horse.
Oh, you beautiful little creamy.
You beautiful little creamy horse, I'm gonna grab you, and once I grab you, me and Cooley, we're gonna take you down to the creek, you know, oh my god. This reminds me of, I don't know if I've talked about this on a podcast before, probably, because I only have about 3 stories and I just cycle through them.
Yep.
I had this dream once about Gary Coleman. Mm-hmm. You know, Gary Coleman, the little guy in Different Strokes.
Yes.
Yeah. And I dreamt I was chasing him through the car park, yelling out, "If I catch you, I'm going to fuck you, little man." And the thing was, it was amusing me. I wasn't actually going to fuck him, but I amused taunting him. So,
oh my god. I feel like I have heard that story before.
I said it's one of my three. One of my three go-tos.
Goodness.
Like when meeting people's parents or if I ever have to give a speech. Anyway, I usually bust that one out.
Yeah.
Speaking of busting something out.
Yeah, so Thara is, he's sort of a, teenagey kind of horse now.
He's growing up fast.
He's growing up. He thinks he wants to use some of his lessons that he's learnt through horse telekinesis through his mum. And so he lives his own hood and goes into the ghetto to clash with a gangster.
Every herd had its own territory in the high country, and each one was protected and looked after by its most powerful stallion, the king of the herd. And those stallions fiercely defended their territories. The big, bruising Brolga was no exception. The Brolga would never be fast as the wind, nor would he be as graceful a dancer as the bird for whom he was named. But he was already showing signs of what he would become, an ugly, determined fighter, never resting till he got what he wanted. That was the moment the Brolga saw the two horses. He tossed his mane in fury at seeing the interlopers. Bell turned and galloped away with Thara behind her. The Brolga charged up the hill after them. He should have been called the Bogan, this guy. He just comes in and he's like, oh, what you guys fucking doing on the Brolga?
Fucking do it. Burn out my ute and I'm gonna fucking get after you,
I'm coming after you, Thara. This Thara, he's got a lot of people after him.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
To be fair, the Brolga is the most pimp horse in the whole series.
Yeah, absolutely.
He is, by far and away the best horse.
He's a total badass. What was that other bloody horse movie I had to watch with you and Suzanne?
Not Warhorse. No, not Warhorse.
No.
Oh, Black Beauty. You were fucking so mean about that movie.
Well, Black Beauty is a story about a horse that just complains about everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's a horse that's lucky to be employed, and it's always, oh, life's hard, I gotta do this.
All my friends are dying, and all the things that I like get taken away from me. I think he has reason to complain, Luke.
Best thing about that movie, Mary Legs.
Yeah, you did love Mary Legs.
Little Mary Legs comes in. I still want to see a stage version of Black Beauty.
Yeah.
Humans playing all the horse roles.
Yes.
Topless in tights.
Okay.
Idris Elba is Black Beauty.
Of course.
Peter Dinklage is Mary Legs. Fuck, that would be amazing. All right.
Oh, dear.
So does the Bogan smash the crap out of Thara?
No, he doesn't, because Daddy is there to save the day.
Yarraman was the finest stallion of all the herds in the high country, the king of the Cascade Brumbies, and now, just when he was needed, he was there to protect his handsome but foolish son, and Bell, his favourite mare. Yarraman sounds very Lord of the Rings to me.
It does. So yeah, they have a little skirmish, and then the Brolga goes, oh, nah, mate, this isn't worth my time just yet. Like, you wait, mate, I'm going to fucking come back for you, eh?
I'll come back for you!
And yeah, so we're back with Indy and Elaine now. And they're going for a bit of a ride through the bush, for a bit of a bush picnic. And Elaine starts spouting a whole bunch of weird, hokey bullshit.
I really love this bit.
I love this bit too. If you want to know the secrets of the bush, then you have to want to feel part of it, Elaine went on. So use your hands. Touch the smooth bark of a snow gum and gradually you'll feel the magic. Elaine reached out and lovingly stroked a tree as she passed, feeling its dry, smooth texture for just a moment. They rode on in silence for a while, and then Elaine spoke again. Just stay open, and you'll read the signs and the direction of the wind, the shape of the clouds, the tracks of the animals. But it's no good unless you feel at one with the bush. You know how you can read a book and yet not understand it? It's the same with the bush. You just want to get fucking elbow deep in the bush. Use your hands and read that shit like it's braille.
You know how I like to bury my nose in a book? It's the same with the bush.
Oh, of course.
I love it.
Yeah.
One with the bush. I understand the magic of the bush. Absolutely. And then she sat up suddenly, not knowing what she had heard or felt, but instinctively she knew something was wrong. She looked around. Elaine stood up, walked over to a huge pile of granite boulders, still standing where Mother Earth had left them millions of years before. Clambering over them, she saw what had caught her attention. It was a joey, its leg trapped by a fallen bough. "Oh, you're hurt, aren't you?" she asked. "What is it, Mum?" asked Indy, catching up with her mother. She saw the helpless joey. "How did you know it was there?" Indy wanted to know how her mother knew the animal was in trouble but got no answer. Aline was too busy lifting the branch to release the joey. In truth, Aline had already given the answer as they chatted during the ride up through the forest. She had been listening to the wind.
Yeah, Indy, your mum's been pissing on about this shit for the last 20 minutes. You're just not listening like a stupid motherfucker, and I think she deserved it. If, by the tiniest chance that you have actually seen this movie, you will remember this moment, because the girl playing Indy goes to Mum, "Oh, how did you know I was there?" Like, literally sitting right next to her, and her mother completely ignores her. It's not like she was so engrossed in what she was doing that she couldn't possibly go, "Oh, well, like, I listened to the wind." She just ignores her, and Indy keeps staring at her, expecting a response, until obviously the director off screen's gone, "Stop fucking staring at your mum, kid."
I was half watching, and I swear I thought she said, "How do you know when he's hurt?" And I was saying, "'Cause it's trapped under a tree and covered in blood, you bit." Alright, back to the man. What's he doing?
He's teaming up with some other men's for a Brumby muster.
The mountains echoed to the screams and neighs of the terrified horses. There was no escape, whichever way they turned. Hurtling down the slopes in a wide arc, the riders wheeled and turned to push them down the hill toward their trap. Bell had misjudged the man's plan. She had taken Thara directly into the path of the men's widening net of horses and riders. They were quickly caught up in the next group of horses being driven towards the corral. "The creamies!" the man cried out with excitement, spurring on his horse even faster. "The creamies! I got 'em!" Bell carefully watched where each chasing rider was and then chose a moment. In a flash, he had jumped the Hessian fence to freedom. Thara followed the man, saw what had happened and cursed. "Don't lose those creamies!" he roared. But Bell and Thara had already disappeared into the thick bush.
See, that's the advantage that Bell obviously had. She was in touch with bush, but the man, he was just too preoccupied with cream to know too much about the bush.
Oh, you've got to navigate past the bush to get to the cream.
Yeah, that's right.
The Brumby drive had been successful, and the captured horses were driven to lower ground. Both Yarraman and the Bogan, had lost many from their herds in the previous day's Brumby run. Yet the man on the black horse had not won the prize he had sought. The creamy colt had eluded him yet again. And
there are so many references to creamy all through this thing.
Yeah.
It's,
but Russ's growing obsession with this horse is the best part of the film.
Yep.
That's what started to get me interested, and that's what yields the best parts.
But the man left his beloved mountains with a heavy heart. He was thinking about the creamy colt with the silver mane and tail.
He was thinking about gripping that mane, lifting up that silver trail, and whoa, come on, snap out of it, the man. Back on track. And then, look, winter, despite this being in Australia, you know, parts of Australia, winter is snowy.
Yes.
And horses are dying all over the place. And Yarraman, king of the Cascade Brumbies, is worried as shit about it. And that's when the Brolga/Bogan decides to strike again.
The two horses, muscles rippling and frosty air steaming from their nostrils, advanced towards each other, circling, rearing and screaming, snow flying from their hooves.
This is some Shakespearean shit right here. This, you know, Peter Oliver does do a really good job with this stuff. But Yarraman wins the day again.
Yeah.
Get out of here, you bloody Bogan! Piss off!
Yeah, but what actually happening is that Yarraman's like, fuck, I haven't got any food up here for my ladies, so I've got to go down and find some food, and the Bogan had some food, so he goes down there and kicks the Bogan's ass and then takes his food.
Give us your food, you fuck!
Look at all these fucking Chico rolls the Bogan's got down here. Fuck you! Oh, piss off! Go to your other fish and chip shop, mate!
I'm gonna slip some to me Sheila's. So, when Stockman Jock turns up to tell Indy about his newly acquired Brumbies, she's kind of disturbed by his offer.
He mounted his horse and then turned to Indy. You can come and watch me breaking them in if you like.
Oh,
Oh, well, are we talking about the horses here, Jock?
Oh,
Or?
yikes. And she does see a bit of it, and this is definitely traumatising for the young girl.
Turning back, she saw the men had gotten the Brumby under control and Jock was getting on.
More like getting it on, am I right?
Yow!
Okay, look, 2 years later in the story within the story, Brolga the Bogan He's a big horse now, and he goes back to fuck up Daddy Yarraman because of that Chico Roll incident from a couple of winters ago.
Yeah.
And this battle is definitely epic.
As afternoon turned to evening, the blood-stained horses tired a little, though they still fought, charging, rearing, and kicking with grim determination.
And then, like, Yarraman ends up bloodied and down. He's covered in open wounds.
Oh,
this
it's
horse
fucked up. Like,
been
it's really
tearing
fucked up.
strips off him. It was quite usual for one stallion to defeat another. Defeat, yes, but not kill. Yarraman was too great a horse to simply be defeated, so the Brolga had left him to die. Damn, that's cold, Brolga.
Yeah. It's a pretty, considering it is a kid's book and kid's movie, it's a pretty intense scene. Like, this horse is literally lying on the ground, just bleeding.
This movie/book slowly starts applying its foot to the gas, and it just gets faster and faster and faster as it goes on. And I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to say if it gets all Paul Walker at the end, but it does. So stay with it. Russ the man, he goes to an auction and...
The next horse to be bought in was a spirited cream filly called Golden.
Filly? Creamy filling?
Oh, like a Twinkie. The man shifted his position on the rail, his eyes immediately alert and attentive. He saw a sexy horse. He had seen something he wanted, something he needed, something which might just win him the prize he was after.
So this is Russ the man's plan. He's going to buy this creamy lady horse and use her as sexy bait to get, like, Thowra to come down and investigate.
Yep.
And by the way, the book states that her previous owner was called Tugger. Now, how do you think he got that nickname?
Well, you know, the Aussie way of giving nicknames would suggest that he's a chronic masturbator. Chronic.
And Ross really gets along well with Goldie. There's instant chemistry here. It seemed Goldie understood everything the man was asking of her, and he was certainly expecting much of her. Now, this lonely man, I tell you what, he knows what he wants. And sure enough, Thowra sees Goldie at the man's house and instantly cracks a jealous boner.
He was more interested in what was standing in the stockyard. Thowra was feeling agitated. The scent of Golden was still in his nostrils. He whinnied and thumped the ground with his hoof. His hoof!
So you've got both Russ and Thowra are just...
thumping the ground with his cock.
They are just fucking both pent up with this raw sexual tension. They're just... Man, this is so good. And the Thowra jumps the fence, gives Golden a nudge, and then they both jump out and escape into the night. And Russ is wicked pissed. No! He roared, starting to run after them, but he knew it was pointless and stopped by the stockyard fence. He leaned on the top rail, shaking his head in anguish, stamping his foot on the ground. Bloody got away. And then, this is so good, the plot thickens. Thowra is pretty quick to get his fuck on, and he impregnates Golden.
Of course.
But as she's close to giving birth...
Having been with man all her life until Thowra captured her, Golden lacked the instinct to take the stirring of her unborn foal calmly. At the last moment, Golden left the herd to seek comfort and protection elsewhere.
I reckon she's going back to Russ for a paternity test because, you know, when you sleep with two people close together, you don't know who's the father.
Exactly.
Take that to Maury Povich. And yeah, sure enough, she goes straight back to Russell Crowe. She betrays the Silver Brumby, goes back to Russ.
Golden let herself be led back to the yard beside the hut. The man quietly dropped the spur rail into its groove and smiled. He looked into the hills and began to laugh. "She came back to me, Silver Horse!" His cry echoed into the hills.
And that is way crazy in the film.
He's mental in that
his
scene.
laugh, he's got this maniacal villain laughter and he's like, "She came back to me!" Like, I've never seen a grown man so proud of himself outsmarting a horse. Especially when you know that the horse is going to later outsmart him again.
Yeah.
But it really is a love triangle.
It is. Like, it is so weird.
He's proud. He's won the affection of a horse over another horse. This is what happens when you live in isolation in the bush. You get bush madness. And fuck, this is so epic right now.
Thowra quickly sensed that Golden had given birth. He charged angrily onto the top of the hill overlooking the hut and reared up until his whole body was silhouetted against the moon and screamed. The man saw the dramatic and angry display.
"I've got your daughter now, Silver Devil!" he roared into the cold night air.
That is also pretty intense.
Yeah, Russ is just...
Oh, he's going crazy.
"I got your shit, you fucking horse!" And, like, you know, it cuts to Thowra, and Thowra's like, "Fuck you, Russell!" They're just at it.
They
just
are.
fucking hate each other.
Yep.
It's crazy. And then, if all this wasn't enough, Thowra unleashes his latent mutant powers.
The wind howled through the trees and the rain fell in torrents. What the man did not realise was that Thowra, the wild horse named for the wind that blew across the high plains, had summoned the storm.
He can not only summon a storm, but...
The heavens answered him with a flashing bolt of lightning that exploded against the stockyard gate and shattered it.
Shit, son, he is a Thor horse. Can you imagine the worldwide box office this would have done if it was called Thor horse?
Well, it would have just been called Thor's.
Thor's! And then Golden escapes again, and Russ is absolutely cacking his dacks in anger. He stamped his feet in the mud in exasperation and bellowed into the darkness, "I'll get you! I swear I will get you!" The agonised cry carried all the way to the mountaintops themselves.
Is this the scene where he's wearing like a jumper and he's all wet and he's flailing around in the mud?
Oh, he's so pissed off. And he leaves for the winter.
Yeah.
And do you notice, like, even Thowra in the movie, he comes back to troll the cabin?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's won.
Yes.
But he keeps coming back, like, basically just to turn up and go, "Fuck you, Russell Crowe, I'm fucking her!" And then the Bogan shows up to steal some of Thowra's ladies.
Yeah. He's come with his, like, panel van to, like, put some of them in the back.
He's like, "Hey, ladies, why are you hanging out with that creamy guy? Come over here. Once you go black, you'll never go back." And but Thowra isn't having a bar of it. He comes down and is like, "What are you bloody saying to my Sheilas?" And he beats the shit out of the Brolga and sends him on his way.
Now, he was the king of the Cascade Brumbies, claiming all the colts and fillies, mares and stallions who roamed free in what were now his valleys and mountains.
It is good to be the king of the Cascade Brumbies.
Yeah.
And then back to Indy. Indy's reading all this, reading this story within the story, and it's getting a bit dark. She thinks this is the end because he's done what he...
Well, he's
avenged
won the day.
his father's death. He's got all these ladies and some men's. He's got all the horses are like, they're clicking their hoofs together in high horse fives. And she's like, "That's it. Great book, Mum. Let me take it to school and sell it to my friends." And this happens.
Elaine looks seriously at her daughter for a moment. "And what makes you think the story's finished? Do you think the man thinks it's finished?"
That's really dark how she does that. She's just like she's trembling at the idea of the man. And this is the twist. This is the whole M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
The story was all true. This is all happening right now.
Yeah, right.
And the clue? There is a clue.
Yeah.
Women can't write fiction. She
She has to base it on just things she saw outside the window.
Yeah, she's just looking out the window.
Yeah.
Pretending to be a writer.
Oh.
But, yeah.
Freaking women's trying to come in and do men's job.
This is a man's story. The man is real, though. And rest assured, dear listener, he's going to catch that Brumby if it's the last thing he does. he is mad for it. And sure enough, the man soon catches up with Thowra, who leads him on this magnificent goose chase away from Golden and the new foal. They're running all over the bush, all over the place, into some crazy areas. But trouble looms ahead.
Millions of years before, the most powerful of Mother Earth's powers had broken the spur's backbone and opened a huge chasm. Oh, the bush's chasm. Now Thowra was approaching a dead end, a place where the land dropped away to a rock-strewn gully far below. A cliff edge beckoned Thowra now. Thowra knew it. The man knew it.
Okay, so picture this. I'm watching the movie for the first time. That this horse is just running towards the cliff. Russ and his friend Darcy are chasing after it. It's, it's looking intense. The horse is sort of heading up. They're close behind. And can you guess, dear listener, what happens? Just think about this for a moment. Horse is heading towards the cliff and...
The man and Darcy were already desperately pulling on the reins to stop their own horses when Thowra reached the edge. The horse let out a fearful scream, soared into the air, into the terrifying void, and vanished over the edge.
The fucking Thelma and Louise there.
Yeah.
This Silver Brumby, Thowra, would rather die, rather be smashed to bits at the bottom of the gully, than be captured and lose his freedom.
Well, he's a fucking Australian, Luke, mate. He wants to be young and free. Young and free.
Well, this is a proud Australian tradition.
Well, yeah.
Like Waltzing Matilda, that song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
That's about a swag man.
Steals a sheep.
Nature's hobos.
Yes.
Steals a jolly jumbuck.
Yeah.
Which is a sheep.
Mm-hmm.
But
The sheep probably wasn't really that jolly, to be fair.
Yeah, the thing is, if you call it a jumbuck instead of a sheep, when you're writing larrikin bush songs, it's easier to rhyme with bumfuck. Why did he want the sheep? Was he going to eat it? Was he going to romance it? Was he lonely?
No, I think he was probably going to eat it, yeah.
Okay, he's going to eat it. He's out by the billabong, enjoying himself. He's like having probably a couple of tinnies, drinking some tea.
Yeah, lamb kebabs.
Scratching his beard.
Yep.
Bunch of coppers turn up.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You bloody sheep stealing bastard, we're going to put you away." He says, "Nah, I'm a free spirit.
Yeah.
I'm an Australian."
Yep.
Jumps in the billabong
Yep.
and drowns
Yep.
and becomes a ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather be die than lose your freedom.
Absolutely.
And the funny thing is, like Ned Kelly as well, probably, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was like, "All right, coppers, I'll put this bloody tin on my head and I'll go out there and you can just shoot me to shit, but I'm not gonna go behind bars."
Well, he did, though. Ned Kelly did. All the others died. He got taken and he was hung.
Yeah, well, he was well hung.
He was
It's another
well
proud
hung.
Australian
Yeah.
tradition.
Yes.
You know, like Americans,
Yeah.
they value their freedom. But when people wig out, like the criminals, they usually take as many people with them as they
Oh,
can.
yeah.
Shoot a lot of people first.
Yeah.
Australians, no, just took themselves out.
Yeah, they're
Bloody-
just like, nah.
Noble, honourable animal.
They're just like, I'm so sick of this shit that I'm just going to put my head under this water here and I'm just not even going to take it out. Like, that's how sick of this shit that I am.
And look, listen to this. The chase was one thing, but the death of a beautiful animal was another. The man felt it. So did Darcy. Every mountain man would have felt it. And they were mountain men. Still in silence, they walked away from the edge, shaking their heads, mounted their horses and rode away. A tear creeping into the eyes of the man. And, Russell Crowe, he's a tough bugger.
He is.
And this bloody sacrifice that this bloody beautiful Australian horse made,
Yep.
he wasn't ashamed that his eye squirted
Oh.
a little bit.
Nah.
He trickled out a tear.
So it was a bloody beautiful creamy. Like, you don't see a creamy that nice for,
Nah.
ever.
Probably we never will again.
Nah.
Bloody beautiful creamy. So, gave away its life. At least, his daughter is out there somewhere, survived thanks to his noble sacrifice.
Yeah.
Bloody beautiful.
And does continue on in the story, in the series of stories, but I can't remember the daughter's name.
Oh, look, don't bloody spoil it. I'm going to read them all tonight.
I think there was a he does survive. I'm trying to remember if it was in the series of books or there was an animated series that came out on TV after this. I believe the thing was that there was like a ledge or something. There was some really MacGuffin-y thing that he
Oh, landed on a spongy bunyip.
pretty much, yeah, there was a spongy bunyip for him to land on and he went back and rejoined the herd.
Oh, fair go, mate. I was here talking to me missus and you landed on me.
I was just here having a quick fucking bath in this billabong and you landed on me with all your fucking hooves and shit, mate.
Oh, sorry about that, mate, but I was sticking it to the man.
Like, oh, well, if you're sticking it to the man, that's all right then.
Come in and have a tinny, mate, until it all dies down.
Do you want a bit of this jumbuck? And he's like, no, mate, I'm a fucking horse. I don't eat lamb.
What the fuck? Yeah, and they never spoke to each other again. Here is the ending of this book. Although I think that wasn't a bad ending, and we just improvised. It's as good as endings go. For years to come, Men around campfires, women at country shows, and children in schools will tell stories of a great Silver Brumby seen galloping on wind-packed snow, of a ghost horse drinking at Crackenback River, of a horse that everyone thought was dead appearing in a blizzard at Dead Horse Gap and vanishing again, of the wild stallion's cry that could only be Thowra's.
But no human really knows where the son of Bell roams. Thowra, the greatest Brumby of them all.
Amen.
Ow!
There we go. Got to ask you, Jacinta, because I ask this all the time, and this is like the 122nd show.
Yeah.
Was the book better?
I think it maybe was a little bit. I don't know. I think I personally like them both quite equally. I feel like...
That's not a valid answer.
Okay, no, fine. The book was better.
Okay.
But in this one, you know how you feel sometimes that the author has got a very loose kind of outline of the movie when they're... Like, this is really specific. Like, I'm pretty sure that this guy had a copy of the movie.
Look, it was written...
Like, right down to fucking
love.
Russell Crowe's goatee.
You can see the love just like dripping off this book. And I can't believe
creamy love.
it was bought for 40 cents. Just absolutely wonderful. I'm going to go with the film just for Russ. Just for Russ's
he's pretty
maniacal
crazy.
laughter. And he's like just yelling at
and
horses.
you know what's better in the movie than the book? His little song that he sings to the dog.
Which isn't in the book. He sings a song while he's washing the dog. And
Monday's washing day for doggies.
yeah, like that's where you go. I bet someone said to him, Russ, you should have a music career.
And he's like, oh, that's a fucking good idea.
Oh, yeah. And that was his first single, wasn't it? Monday's washing day for doggies. Even the dog is just like, what the fuck?
All right, I'm changing my answer on the back of the washing day song.
Shit.
I'm going movie.
Son, it was locked in.
No.
Game show rules.
Nah.
Okay. Now, you went hunting for some Amazon.
Yeah, there was not many. Only just the one, and I even looked on Goodreads and everywhere. Apparently only one person in the world has bought this book. And
It's a bloody shame. Breaks my bloody heart.
Oh, it bloody well does. I mean, I had it, but I didn't buy it because I got it for free, because that's a great Australian way. So this review is called Great Little Book for the Young Horse Lover. They gave it 5 stars. And the author, Sippin' Cream.
Sippin' Cream.
Which is really awful in the context of this movie.
Look at that creamy filling on that creamy filling. Just could be sipping that cream until the bloody sun came down, I'll tell you what. And then I'd pause for my tea and then I'd get right back into that sipping cream. Okay, I'll read this. Contains lots of background information about the movie along with the story. Would be a great addition to an elementary school library for 4th to 5th grade horse lovers. The ending is a bit sad in the movie, but easier to handle through reading the book. Enjoyed both the movie and this little book.
See, they can't pick either.
Elementary school. So that's American, huh?
Yeah.
Is this an American that stumbled across the Silver Brumby?
Possibly.
Thought, what's a Brumby? I don't know. I'm going to find out.
Is that like a bakery or what?
What's a Brumby? And then they had the ride of their life.
They sure did.
Well, look, this just proves again that Australians are doing it well, doing it right. We've got to do more Australian books because this is bloody legendary. And you notice, like, you know, every time you read an American book, hamburgers, hot dogs, there wasn't a single meat pie in this book.
Not at all, no.
Not a sausage roll, not a Chico roll. We added
some Chico rolls, but that's, you know, that just felt right.
It's close to lunchtime.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you everybody for listening. Please listen to the other shows. There is FP Cast every Monday, General Pop Culture Podcast, which Jacinta hosts with me.
Uh-huh.
We talk about film, news, reviews, all sorts of fun stuff. And also Scarjo a Go-Go on Thursdays. And this week is Don John.
Oh.
Gordon Joseph Levitt having a fap.
Or Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Him too.
Gordon Joseph Levitt's the brother.
They were both really good.
Yeah,
in
they
this
were
one,
great,
and
yeah.
sometimes they used each other's hands.
Oh!
You can find all of that at www.fruitlesspursuits.com. Also links to our discussion group on Facebook. Would love to hear from you. And you can also find us at geekvision.tv, the nerd hub that we are proud to be a part of. So thanks again, Cobber.
No worries, True Blue Mate.
You are a great bloody mate. I would bloody jump
Go on, what?
into your bush gap. We'll catch it. Oh, you got to say the thing. It's a thing.
Oh, no, fuck off. I'm not catching you on the flips.
Horse mangy.